All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, Monday, March 20th, 2023. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
And then also, like always, joined by Marcus Fine. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well.
Dad, I'll let you get going so I can check the sound, and then we should be good.
Okay, I thought we'd just go ahead and start off with, of course, we didn't get to go to the show this weekend. We were supposed to, but had some things happen and we couldn't make it. So, unfortunately, I know Marcus got to go to 2 shows. I was going to have him report on those shows that he got to go to this weekend.
All right. Was at the Dub on Friday night, WCWO, live at the Dub, so it's Reggie Edwards week. Always an interesting time when Reggie's in the building because they get the Reggie Sucks chant going. I mean, almost the entire night they're yelling at him. But a couple of the good matches. Jackson Morgan was in a 6-way elimination match to be crowned the new number 1 contender for the Gunslinger champion. He won that spot. The match had Itch and Baron Von Kane, Jake Phoenix, Zay Gates, and the returning Christian Cash, which was very good to see him in action.
Yes.
Kind of weird how they done it is Baron accidentally pinned. No. Yeah, Baron accidentally pinned Itch. And so then now I think Itch and TJ are going to turn against Baron because they ended up attacking him and then had Zay Gates pinned him. So, but in the end, Jackson Morgan won, and now he will go up against Jordan James on the 31st for their monthly Super Show. And then Jordan James teamed up with Dex Royal, and they went up against Brody Bawkins and Jake Elliott in the main event. Very well done. Jordan and Dex won, and then Jordan. So of course Jordan's taking on Jackson. Dex and Brody are going to have a 2 out of 3 falls hardcore match at the end of the month on the 31st.
Well, that'd be worth seeing.
So yeah, and we won't be here, but
yeah.
2 out of 3 falls you don't see very often, and for it to be a hardcore match.
Yeah.
And I've seen Brody in a few hardcore matches, so it will live up to what it sounds like. I mean, so. And then we was in a show in Southern Indiana on Saturday. A couple guys I've not seen before. Mongoose. He defeated a guy named Hardcore Hillbilly in, of course, a hardcore match. They brought out the Legos and a bunch of Legos. They had a small Ziploc bag, and they dumped that. Then they went to ringside and had a 2 foot by 2 foot box, and it covered the place. And if you look at the pictures, they're backdropping, and it was pretty brutal. We're all like, the guy, he got up and he had all them little pieces in his back, and then like I was telling you before we went online, we seen a team that both guys were deaf, and it was the most outstanding thing we've ever seen. The referee knew how to communicate, which is their normal referee, and the team that's normally there worked them, and just the way they were signing, calling or moving, it was beautiful. I wish more people would have seen how well those guys were. And when they're all done, because the ring announcers told us, do this, that way, so they can know we're clapping.
Yep.
It was outstanding. A couple other matches, Hyperdrive took on Chris Chaos in a good one, and Low Key Havoc took on Jake Elliott in a kind of more of a classic comical match, but it was pretty good. But Jake Elliott's got a feud coming up with Charles Colton, and I told Colton that Jake's on Thursday, so he may be on there Thursday, bad-mouthing him in the comments. So, Glenn Kelly, that too.
Glenn's getting ready to head back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now, Glenn?
He was in Atlanta. He went to the NASCAR race.
It's too bad they're not running WCW anymore. You can run over to the Omni.
Yep.
Because it's Monday night.
That's true.
Yeah, he went to Atlanta for NASCAR. I think he watched the truck races on Saturday and then the race yesterday.
Yep. He loves the truck races. He likes those.
I don't think there's too many sports things that he don't like.
That's true.
He's into sports big time.
Yes, he is.
So that's how our weekend went.
Did you have a match of the weekend that you kind of favored?
Boy. I've seen a lot of good stuff. Well, I'm always into that hardcore. So Mongoose and Hardcore Hillbilly, I would say, because of just what they done to each other. And of course, I will have to say the one with the Deaf World Order against HNIC, which is one of their established tag teams. Just the beauty of that storytelling with those guys was just you'd have to see it. It was unbelievable. So,
Yeah, hopefully we'll get the opportunity sometime.
they dedicated the whole show to Sean O'Brien, the referee who passed. And I know JICW Saturday is dedicating their show to him as well, and I'm sure there's a bunch of them out
Yeah,
there.
we'll be. Yeah, I bet, because I know about all the wrestling organizations. I seen were putting out stuff.
Mhm.
So they knew of him or knew him. I
So
probably
yeah,
knew him.
we was with Bruce on Saturday, and he knew him. I don't. I'm sure somewhere along the line we've had to see him, but I didn't personally know him. But if you read the stuff on Facebook, the man was well loved. So
Yes,
and
yeah.
respected. So
And from what I gathered, it was a peanut allergy.
that's what they told us Saturday night. An extreme peanut allergy is what they said.
That's awful.
So
Well, we'll go ahead and I guess give my report on the WWE and the NXT and all that real quick, and then we'll get into our main topic. Okay. Basically, what's going on with for one thing, the WWE, I guess, announced that Andy Kaufman's going to be going into the Hall of Fame. They announced that today.
I
So they're
just
putting
looked at
him in.
Jerry Lawler tape too. So
So I think that's good. I wish Cyndi Lauper
Yeah.
would go in. I don't know all the circumstances with Cyndi Lauper. Maybe she don't want to go in, but I think she deserves to go in. She helped kickstart things with Lou Albano and Hogan and Piper and all them. So, but Kaufman, that was more than Memphis, but they made the movie, and WWE was heavily involved with the movie. So I know Jim Ross was in the movie, and of course Lawler, of course. But yeah, I think that's good. Big story, probably WWE coming out last week was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn finally came together. So definitely looks like we're going to be having a tag match for the unified tag team titles, I would say. There are some arguments on that. People are wanting that to main event night one. And of course, Roman and Cody to do night two, which definitely that'll be night two. But there's some people who feel like a women's match should be the main event of night one. So there's some, and they've not announced yet what it's going to be. Usually though, because Rhea won the Royal Rumble, she's supposed to be a main event. So I don't know where they're going to go with that. But I know there's been a heavy discussion online and on even on Busted Open Radio and stuff like that. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Let me ask you this, because I was thinking about this earlier. How did they do it before they had WrestleMania 2 nights? How did they do when you had the women's and the men's? Was one of them co-main event and one main event? How did they do that?
I do remember I think the last one that was a one main event. I don't know if it was the last one, but I do remember they had that 3-way with the women. With I don't want to say for sure that was the last one because it may not have been, but they had that one with Becky Lynch and them in that 3-way.
So they just decided basically which one was going to be the main event.
Yeah.
But now, since there are 2 nights, people just kind of expect that the women are going to be main event one night.
Main events, yeah. So, but
well,
I don't.
That one year it was Shinsuke taking on AJ and Asuka taking on Charlotte, and neither one of them were the main event that year.
Yeah,
so
that happens too.
Okay.
So, and also years you had split titles. See, this year with the tag team, the women's have split titles. You got a Raw and SmackDown, but on the men's side, the tag teams are together, and the men's title is just one belt. So there's not two. There's not a Raw champion and a SmackDown champion
Right.
like there are with the women's. Other big story is Dom and Ray. And I've told Chris what I think is going to happen is Ray keeps refusing a match with Dom. No way will he wrestle his son. I think something's going to happen. I think they're going to wait to the Hall of Fame. And I think the Hall of Fame night is when they're going to end up announcing that match. I think something's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe he attacks his mom. Maybe Rhea attacks his mom. Something's going to happen to make Ray take that match. But I think they're going to hold off till at least Friday night SmackDown. SmackDown's on, and then the Hall of Fame's on right after at the same arena. So they might wait till that Friday night, or it may be during the.
I don't know if they'll do it during this Hall of Fame.
No, you don't see that. You don't. Nobody runs the Hall of Fame.
it'd be something different. Though. It'd
Except
be
for the guy
something
that
different.
charged Bret Hart. That's the only guy that ever really interfered with Hall of Fame. But
Yeah. So we'll see where they're going with that. Them are the two big things there. The WWE, also NXT. The other big thing with NXT, they got a couple of things. They're setting up for Stand and Deliver, which will be that Saturday of WrestleMania, I think at 1:00. Their big match. It's probably been a year and a half or 2 years brewing. Their two best guys, Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker, is going to meet. What do you think is going to happen? You think you think Carmelo's going to take the belt and Braun's going to move up?
That's what I think. I was actually talking about this when I was working on that guy's TV a little bit ago. I think Breaker's moving up to either Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And then the other big storyline is Roxanne Perez. She wrestled a match with Mako Satomura. She's actually been around. She's 40-some years old. She's been around. She was actually on Nitro years ago, a Japanese wrestler. She's a Japanese legend, and she's really good. Well, Roxanne had a match with her, and she beat her. Roxanne held her title and beat her, but after the match, she collapsed. A lot of people have wondered whether it's a storyline, and why I do believe it's storyline, but they said that they may be vacating the belt. They didn't say they vacated it yet, but they don't know about her status yet. The doctor's still done a test, and so they're going to have a ladder match or something for the belt, but now they have it possibly for the belt. So I think she's going to end up okay, and she's going to defend it. That's what I think on that Stand and Deliver, but we'll see what happens there. And then my last thing's on AEW. Their big storyline, I want to just get your on this. You'll know how I'm going to feel about this, but MJF's they're trying to decide who his next contender is going to be, and they call AEW's four pillars, these four young guys, which MJF's one of them, Darby Allin's the other one, Jungle Boy's the other one, and Sammy Guevara is the other one. Well, all three of them guys confronted him in the ring, and so they're going that route. Out of those three guys.
was that part of the bar mitzvah thing?
Yeah, that was part of the bar mitzvah thing. They interrupted the bar
Called
mitzvah.
into that a little bit because it was on after you guys were done with Tommy.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
What is this?
I don't think that they're going to get the belt.
I wouldn't. But I mean, it don't make no sense. All the guys you have in AEW, that's who you're going to have feud for your belt against MJF. It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't to me either. I know that Jungle Boy just ended a feud with Christian, which got drawn out because Christian got hurt, and it hurt that feud. And then they had the Buried Alive match, which didn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah,
it really didn't. Darby Allin's for most of the time been getting beat, so I don't understand that. And Guevara too has lost a lot of matches and wrestled a lot of tag team matches and been with his girlfriend or wife. I think it's his wife now. So it really don't make sense. We'll see where it goes from there. But
I'd rather see him have a guy like Wardlow go in a feud with MJF. Or I mean, there's a lot of people I would rather see than that.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know. That's been part of their problem, has been their planning, their booking. So we'll see if they can get that corrected. And I think we're ready to go into our main topic, unless you guys got anything. Our main topics.
No, man, they got so many people in that roster, and them are the three guys that don't make a lot of sense to me.
No, they don't. They did have their first house show Saturday in Troy, Ohio. It was the first ever house show. They did it at a small place. I guess it held about 3,500, and I guess they sold out 3,500 tickets. So sold out the small venue, but it was their first ever house show. So they're going to start doing some house shows. And
this behind the scenes stuff that he's talking about doing, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be on after. I think.
But I mean, like on that commercial, they're showing them giving that one girl a shot in the back. Yep. You don't want that stuff all on TV. People would start attacking it.
Yep, you could get attacked, definitely. Well, it shows a thing where some of this stuff's older stuff because she was hurt, and then also they talk about Thunder Rosa. She was hurt and saying, yeah, she's got the title, and here it is not getting defended, and they was talking bad about her. I don't know that's good for.
Yeah, no, it's not good for business.
To me, but we'll see. I guess we'd start off with the managers, if that's okay with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start off a category here. I looked at wrestling managers. This was from website Wrestling Inc. And it was their 12 greatest WWE wrestling managers. And we'll see what you guys think of this list. They had number 12, Sonny. 11, Jim Cornette, which he was a pretty big manager in WWE also. The Grand Wizard, which that around before you was probably around.
Yeah,
I think
well, he was dead before I started watching it too. So
yeah, he was in the 60s and 70s. Yeah. Another one you guys probably might have seen because he was with Backlund towards the end, Arnold Skolin.
yeah, I forgot to put him on the list. I went from the top of my head just remembering who.
Yeah,
Arnold was more of a wrestler than I mean. I think they used him just to keep him on the payroll. He couldn't wrestle anymore, so here we'll put you with the champ. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the one throwing the towel that caused Backlund the title.
Yep, because he didn't give up. Yep. He was 9. 8 was Classy Freddie Blassie. 7 was Miss Elizabeth. 6 was Captain Lou. 5 was Sensational Sherry. 4 Jimmy Hart. 3 Paul Bearer. 2 Paul Heyman, and number 1 on their list was Bobby Heenan.
No, that's not a bad list. I forgot Paul Bearer too. I don't know how I did, because I forgot Jimmy Hart there until I was watching the Jerry Lawler thing. It's like, how did I forget Jimmy Hart? So,
and then I had another list. This is Sports Illustrated, and this was not just WWE. 10, they had Paul Bearer. 9, they had Miss Elizabeth. 8, Mr. Fuji. 7, Freddie Blassie. 6, Jimmy Hart. 5, J.J. Dillon. 4, Captain Lou. 3, Paul Heyman. 2, Jim Cornette. And 1, Bobby Heenan. That was Sports Illustrated.
yeah, I think everybody's going to put Bobby Heenan number 1. And he should be. I don't agree with Nolan on that last list.
No, I'm not sure. Even Grand Wizard. I mean, I don't know enough about him, so I don't want to say no. But they didn't have Mr. Fuji on that list.
Yeah, and Slick, and I mean,
yeah, you had Slick and some people. Yeah.
So it kind of surprised me Teddy Long wasn't on either one of those lists.
Yeah, see, there's another one I forgot. See, there's so many of them that I would, like I said, I was going by the top of my head.
Who'd you say?
Teddy Long.
Teddy Long. Yep. Teddy Long. Yep. I put down a
Paul Ellering was a manager for a long time too.
Yeah,
in both organizations.
Well, I made a list of my own, and I had Paul Ellering down on my list.
I had Paul down on mine. I was naming a few. I was on mine that wasn't on there.
I've got 10, and then I had to add 2 more, so I've got 12. I'll go ahead and give my list real quick. I had Slick.
Yeah, I got a long list.
I got Slick, Gary Hart. Gary Hart was really good in the NWA, but if you really want to check Gary Hart out, Texas, world class. I mean, Gary Hart was outstanding. Outstanding. Paul Ellering I had down. Sensational Sherry. Paul Bearer, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, Captain Lou, J.J. Dillon, Cornette, Heyman, and Heenan. Is the 12 I had down. And then one that I did have a bonus one. It was around because he was with the Sheik, and I remember him, Eddie Creechman.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, I know he was known for wrestling, but DiBiase was a good manager as well.
Yep, DiBiase did pretty well as manager.
No Virgil.
He was a bodyguard.
Yeah, he was a bodyguard.
Fine line is.
In the women's, I had Sherry Martel, Miss Elizabeth, and Sonny, but the one that I thought deserved to be on there was Woman.
See, I didn't have her either.
Marlena.
Marlena could have been there too.
You want my list?
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, my list is in no particular order. This is just going off the top of my head. I had Jimmy Hart, of course, Bobby Heenan, Slick, Albino, Freddie Blassie, Sensational Sherry. She was on both sides because she had Macho Man, Shawn Michaels, and then she had Booker T and Stevie Ray.
Harlem Heat, yeah.
Harlem Heat, yeah. Elizabeth. And then I had Grand Wizard and Eddie Creechman, Sonny, Heyman, Sable, because she was a manager before she went on the.
Yep.
Marlena, Paul Ellering, Baby Doll.
Yep, that's a good one I forgot about.
Precious and Sunshine.
Yep.
That's WCCW people.
Yep.
Stacy Keebler. And was she Miss Hancock?
Yep.
Okay, I had them grouped together. I thought that's.
She's going to the Hall of Fame. isn't she?
That's been a rumor. They have not announced
They
it
haven't
officially
announced
yet.
it. Okay.
Jim Cornette, Francine, that's an ECW, kind of
Yep.
goes along with what we're talking about later. Missy Hyatt, if you want to call her that. Alexander York, which was also Deborah, right? No, Alexander York was
Marlena.
Molina, yeah. And then Deborah. Well, what was Deborah in WCW? Was she Deborah then too? Yeah, Deborah McMichael.
Yep.
But just Deborah when she come over to the
Yep.
And then I forgot about Fuji. I just missed the list. I didn't forget them. Fuji, J.J. Dillon, Teddy Long, Gary Hart, and Woman. That's the ones I got when you just said that. So
Yeah, J.J. Dillon was a real good one for me because of the Four Horsemen. He just really stood out with the Horsemen, and I guess he was a decent wrestler. Because I seen him. He's wrestled a few. I mean, okay, but
yeah.
but I seen him on an old card of WWE. Basically, a jobber.
Another guy too. Well, I guess you could put Kevin Sullivan because he was a manager for a while.
Yep.
There was another guy who I cannot think of his name. He was in the NWA. He used to be a wrestler and then went on to be a manager too. But
Paul Jones.
yeah, that's him, Paul Jones.
Paul Jones, and then
Harvey Whippleman.
Yeah, Harvey Whippleman.
Yep, Harvey Whippleman.
And of course, Slick was one of my favorites just because he was funny.
Well,
He
yeah.
was
Well, you know.
Yeah. He was just funny as heck. Him and Nakeem and
the Jive So, bro.
Oh, it was great.
Oh, man, yeah. Don't forget Sapphire. She was one I somehow didn't put on the list, but
Yep, Sapphire.
So. Most people, like you said, think Heenan's the one. Who do you think most people would think would be two?
I'd say most people, in my opinion, would either probably say Heyman or Cornette.
Yeah, or Albano because he had the most tag team people.
Yep.
But I'd put Jimmy Hart in that list. He had a lot of people. I would put Cornette because he's a mastermind.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's crazy, but yeah, he's a mastermind.
Yeah,
I love listening to it.
Yeah,
he goes nuts.
Yeah, Dylan was real good. And Paul Ellering. See, Paul Ellering had that group in NWA. It was called the Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom had Jake the Snake and
Jake the Snake Roberts and the Road Warriors, and I had a couple other different people.
Bundy was part of that for a while, and
yeah, so I mean, that was the original Legion of Doom. So,
thank you, Gary. We appreciate it. I'll be getting a hold of you here in just a little bit.
But yeah, that
as soon as I get done with all these shows I have in one day. Mondays are always busy.
See, I wonder with Albano what hurt him now is that he was almost ending, 85, 86, 87, 88. He was almost done because his bigger years was probably really 77, 78, Samoans. And so I probably hurts him a little bit. But at one time, yeah, you go mid 70s to mid 80s. You could say he was the number one guy, probably.
Yeah.
Then Heenan came in and then kind of took over. But Heenan was big when he first got to start.
Heenan was big everywhere. That's the thing. I don't think you can get any better than Heenan.
Yeah, Chicago, Indianapolis.
He was in the AWA, then he was in the WWE, then he went over to the WC. Yeah, he was everywhere, and he was big everywhere he was at. So
never really managed in the WCW. He was just pretty much announcer. But
was in WWE where he was kept trying to sneak in the building?
The first Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
I was watching. I saw some of that the other day. I was watching that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was it. Well, if you like that, Tuesday Night Titans.
Tuesday Night Titans.
Well, that's the kind of humor it was.
Oh, that was hilarious. He'd come in different disguises. Who was the one that always called him?
It was Gorilla. Well, Gorilla ended up finally throwing him out of the building, but
there was another guy too.
Okay.
Who's the guy that used to do that?
Oh, that was one of them guys. Yeah, I know. I don't know what. I don't
think of his name though. I know who you're talking about.
He done them damn
the
safari stuff.
Oh, with Mean Gene.
No, he done it. The guy that was with Mean Gene.
Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yeah, Lord Alfred Hayes. The one I saw, he was stopping Bobby Heenan as well, keep him from getting in the building. I was cracking up.
I don't know who Lord Alfred Hayes had pictures of. I don't know how he ever had a job myself. I never cared for him, but I figured
Well, I
he had.
guess he was a wrestler one time too.
Yeah, he was. I do know he
I
was.
never seen any of his stuff.
I think safari thing that they did with him and BG. Some of them old videos they did was I was like, oh, who the hell came up with this?
Well,
Thought this
he
was a
was-
good idea.
Yeah, Lord Alfred Hayes did all those those announcements of shows coming up, but then he was also on Tuesday Night Titans because he was the Ed McMahon of
Yeah, and
Vince
he
and
wasn't
Sonny
funny at all.
Corson. And he just sat there most of the time. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, watch the episode of Primetime Wrestling with Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon on the boat.
Okay.
They go out on sea, and that boat gets to moving, and because everything in the water was pretty rocky, and they were sliding all over the place in the cheer. It's Gorilla started just losing it. He just started cracking up. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened, and it was just funny. Them two together were. When he left because Heenan was leaving, he was just going to retire. He thought he was done. He didn't want to do the work schedule anymore. WCW called him and said, "Look, we just want you to announce on Monday nights, and maybe a tape show on Saturday." So they offered him a bunch of money, and he went. But he was really going to retire.
his neck was jacked up too, so there's not much he could have done anyway.
Live on the air, Brian Pillman comes out of the ring and grabs him by the neck.
And got the F-bomb thrown.
Live on the air. What the fuck are you doing? He said to Pillman.
Because he thought it was a fan that got him.
Yeah, and because everybody knew you don't touch Heenan.
Yeah, Pillman didn't know that there was a "do not touch Bobby" clause.
But yeah, I remember that was live.
Yeah, I do too.
Bobby was great.
Oh, he was just so quick-witted that.
Well, that's what I said. If you got Bobby Heenan and Jerry Lawler at a table, just trying to one up the other one.
Yep.
Yeah, they were best friends.
Yep.
Because when Bobby Heenan did his, when he accepted his Hall of Fame, he even dedicated it to Gorilla and was in tears that he wished Gorilla was there to see it. So.
Oh yeah, and his Hall of Fame thing is outstanding. Heenan's speech. I mean, he got up there just having a good time. He said, "Look, I have cancer for 2 years. I've been in the bed naked by myself." He said, "It was great."
What I liked about it is he accidentally said WWF because they had just went to WWE. He said, "Well, let me tell you," and he started rambling off every animal that wrestlers had brought. He went for like 5 minutes and just rambling crap off.
He got a standing ovation because he just off the top of his head went.
Did you say this ain't the WWF? Well, I tell you.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Anybody that's not seen that speech of Bobby Heenan, go back and check that out on the network.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, nobody has anything else. So managers will go to our next thing.
I think I'd put Paul Heyman at a close second, though. I like Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
I'd put him up there in the top 5 because you got Jimmy Hart. Man, there's just so many guys.
Yeah.
But Paul Heyman, just his facial expressions and everything. I mean, everything he does, and then not even counting what we're getting ready to talk about.
Yeah.
What he does.
Yeah.
What he done with that.
Presentation alone. Yeah.
And I don't think you've seen a lot of his. I know you've seen some of it in the NWA, but a lot of his young stuff. I mean, that's when his relationship started with the. Well, actually, his relationship started when he was 15, 16 years old, sneaking into the Madison Square Garden, taking pictures, and became friends with the Samoans. That's and everything. So, but I mean, his relationship with the Samoans go back forever. And then he had the Samoan SWAT team in the NWA.
Was that when he was Paulie Dangerously?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he had hair and a lot of hair.
A lot of hair.
Yeah, I remember that.
Had that. Well, not the time it wasn't, but that prehistoric cell phone, that big.
Antenna.
Yeah, he's good.
Right, and well, that too, in WCW, he snuck into a meeting with Dusty Rhodes, and the big meeting because Dusty Rhodes was running things at the time, and he snuck into the meeting, and Dusty Rhodes, he let him be in there for a long time, and finally he busted him, but he let him stay, and he just. Could you imagine now trying to sneak into a meeting at one of those places?
Oh shit!
I don't think that'd happen now.
You wouldn't be sticking around anyway.
No.
If you could even get that far.
Yeah, so a lot of his stuff he got kind of lucky because I mean, he could have went the other way. He could have got in trouble and all kinds of stuff.
They got back then. They got the hell beat out of him. I mean, back then,
or maybe I hate to say it, but maybe killed it back then.
back then in WWE, man, there was a lot of big guys. I mean, it's not, you know,
yeah, it's all what 6'4", 6'5", 200, 300 pound guys.
Oh yeah, you didn't have very many people weighing under 200 pounds, 210, 220. Everybody was about 240, 250 and up. Back then. Of course, most of them was on steroids too. So.
Yeah,
that's another reason you might have got your ass whooped.
I happened to see a feed come up on my phone yesterday of Dr. D smacking the heck out of John Stossel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he drilled him twice.
And if you watch the first Tuesday Night Titans, you could see the skit that caused the people to call the police on him because he's being mean to his kids on that first Tuesday Night Titans.
I remember that. I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Chris, you get about an hour. You just need to start watching some of that.
Well, I might break it out tonight after all, maybe.
Yeah,
we still have
that's hokey stuff.
Not after that, then.
It's very hokey, but it's funny.
Yep. You got to see Andre doing his fish impersonation. Fish dance. Yeah.
Had that midget at one time, little person.
Yeah.
Standing on the desk there the whole show. He's just standing on Vince's desk. Vince McMahon's desk, just standing there. Yeah. Learn how to cook with this. I'm telling you, some crazy stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, Vince has a definitely different sense of humor. Stuff that Vince found funny, most people probably wouldn't find funny. They said Vince was when Undertaker said this. Undertaker said when John Cena and him had that match and he just destroyed John Cena in 2 or 3 minutes or whatever, said that Vince McMahon thought that was the most hilarious thing ever seen. Said he was back at the gorilla position, just cracking up completely. Thought that was one of the greatest things ever seen.
Just because he done it so quick,
I guess because that's what he wanted. And Taker didn't know that's what the match going to be. Taker said he thought they was having a 15-minute match. They get in the ring and Cena said, "This is what we're doing," and he's like, "Huh? Do this, do this, do this, do this."
Wow.
And that's crazy. I just seen that the last couple days. I didn't know that. I did also see an interview where
Vince was probably back there cracking up because he got the Undertaker because the Undertaker didn't know it. He probably back there thinking it was funny.
Yeah, they've been trying to get Undertaker to break for years. They got that famous video of them trying to get him to do the spinneroonie. Said they were in the ring for 20 minutes and trying to get him to do the spinneroonie, and he said there was no way they was ever going to get him to do a spinneroonie.
No.
So he said Dr. David Schultz.
He was one of their main heels until he smacked Stossel in the head.
And then he got screwed because basically they told him to do it, if I understood right, and nobody wanted to take the blame, and so they fired him.
Yeah, he got called. He got put under the bus. Well, let's move on to the ECW.
All right, I have this, and you'll just have to go, and I'll go with it. I got 3 pages of stuff I just started writing down, so I don't know what kind of outline you got going here, but
okay. Well, I'm gonna start off with some of the greatest matches, and I wrote this down and see what you guys think of this from the Bleacher Report. I even got dates for you, Marcus, in case there's something you want to see later on. Their number 10 was on Hardcore TV on 10/18/94. Sabu versus Cactus Jack.
All right, I've seen that.
Number 9 on November to Remember 1995. Psychosis and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that's on my list.
That's an excellent match. Excellent.
They brought those guys in. I watched that thing the other day, last night, and they brought in because nobody wanted to do anything with the Mexican wrestling people. And Paul Heyman brought them in, and they brought them in, and they were jumping around, and then they started doing the hardcore stuff too, and the fans just ate it up.
Oh yeah.
Ate it up. So because NWA and WWE did not want the Mexican wrestlers in there.
And then of course after it was successful, the NWA started taking them away,
Yeah.
or WCW. Number 8 was Hardcore Heaven 2000, Tajiri versus Steve Corino.
Yeah.
Number 7, Living Dangerously 1998, Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I think that's the one where Bam Bam goes through the ring.
ring. Okay, I had that on my list of Bam Bam crashing down through the canvas. And
Number 6, Cyber Slam 1996, Too Cold Scorpio and Sabu. That's one I don't think I've seen.
no, I didn't watch a lot of W or ECW until like 98 or 99 because I didn't have access to it. So
Now this is a match I do remember, but I'm going to go back and watch it. But I do remember it. I had forgot about it. It's at 1997 Barely Legal 6-man tag. Great Suzuki, Grand Hamada, and Masito. I'm not going to promise I'm going to pronounce this right. Yakushita against Men's Tio, Dick Togo, and Taka Michinoku. I remember that match, and it is outstanding. So that's definitely one. That was on Barely Legal 1997.
did they bring them all over from Japan? Was that the deal? Or?
Let me see. Suzuki was, I know. I think they may have been all Japan. I'm not sure about Grand Amata, but I know the other ones were all Japan. I can't remember if Mata was. I think he was from Japan.
Yeah, I've not even heard of that match.
But yeah, you want to check that out, Marcus. It's really good.
I will, definitely.
Like I said, that was on Barely Legal 1997. Number 4 was Heat Wave 1998. Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm, I do too.
Number 3, Hostile City Showdown, Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. Was that the 2 out of 3?
I believe so, yeah.
Because they each took a fall and they each pinned each other in the third match or in the third fall.
Yeah.
All 4 shoulders were on the ground and they called it a draw.
This one I don't remember. Let's see if you remember it. Number 2, Gangsters Paradise, 1995, the Pit Bulls versus Raven and Stevie Richards.
No, I know Raven and Stevie were a big team at one time, so I'm guessing that's blood. That just reeks blood, just the sound of it. So,
and I think I remember this one. Their number 1 was Hardcore Heaven, 1999, Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn.
Oh, those Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam matches they put those on TNN like once a month. They'd have those. Oh, yeah, those two were. Yeah, those guys were good together.
And then I wrote down some of the biggest feuds. Of course, Sabu, Van Dam, Raven, Sandman, Sabu, Taz, Taz Bigelow, Cactus Jack, Terry Funk, Raven, Tommy Dreamer, Dreamer, Sandman. I mean, they had great, that's one thing that really helped ECW. They had great feuds. That helped a lot. Another thing that I watched some stuff on ECW that kind of refreshed my memory. Heyman talked so much how big a help Terry Funk was working with all these guys and getting all these guys over. He wanted to work with everybody, and he wanted to get everybody over. And Heyman said he did. Said he got every single one of them better, every single one of them over. And he said that ECW wouldn't have got where they got to without Terry Funk.
Bully Ray done a lot in the background.
Oh yeah,
Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer, yeah.
Taz was a shirt guy. He made the shirts.
Bully was getting like the buildings.
Billy got the buildings. I think Tommy did a lot of booking with, and they all did production. I think Tommy did a lot of production.
I agree.
And then I also had one other list. It's the top 12 storylines, but I don't remember the website I got it from. Their number 12 was the BWO.
Blue World Order.
Yeah,
it was Stevie Richards and the Blue Meanie and
Nova.
Yeah, I knew there was he was just a third wheel, I thought. But
he ended up going to WWE, and he's the one that was Sean Dean.
Yeah.
The fitness guy, supposed to have been the fitness guy.
They were doing those vignettes out in the street with the Blue World Order and all those people. That was hokey stuff too, but it
Well,
was
they
funny.
said original they showed up Blue World Order. It was going to be a skit on TV, and it was going to be a one-off. It was the original plan, and it just it took off. It was kind of an accident. Number 11 was the Network against Heyman.
You still see them BWO shirts?
Oh yeah, you do.
You remember the Network issue?
Yep.
TNN was going to pull them, and Heyman said, "Well, I'll do whatever the hell I want now," and just waiting on him to do it. And I guess the Network gave Vince thousands of dollars and took it away from him. But
that was the thing. Heyman said that they didn't know it at the time. They got that deal with TNN as basically to see how wrestling would work, and then if it worked out, then they were going to spend big money and bring in WWE. Which
well, maybe that's the story. Yeah,
that's what happened. Next one was number 10 was the Underdog story with Mikey Ripwreck. I can't say it, but yeah.
He was the guy at ringside that they pulled in there, and that kid could take a beating. And
he did too.
Yeah. But he started out ringside, and that's where they storylined him. I don't know. He may have been in the ring, ringside guy. I don't know.
And this is one I think you told me you was at this match, or this number 9 was Mike Awesome, leaving to go to WCW and lost the ECW championship to Taz.
Yeah, I was there.
And Taz was in WWE at the time. They brought Taz back as a favor. WWE let him go back and win the belt. And then I think he turned around and lost it maybe to Dreamer. I can't remember.
And then Dreamer turned around and lost it to...
and this was on the ECW show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they found out Awesome was going to leave. It was Indianapolis, wasn't it?
Right there across the street from Glenn.
Yep. And they found out that he was going to leave. Awesome was going to leave.
Well, he did leave. Because he was on Monday night, or he was on Nitro that Monday.
Yep.
And he come through the crowd because nobody knew he was there. He had to, or they'd kick the hell out of him.
Yep.
And they started, you sold out. But yeah.
Yep.
Who was Lance Storm's partner? That's who Dreamer lost the belt to the same night he won it.
They done most of their shows in Philadelphia, right?
Most of them.
Justin
Incredible, yeah.
That's who he lost the title to.
Okay.
Same night that he won it off of Taz. Because he didn't want the belt.
No.
But he took it off Taz so Taz could go back. But Taz did show up to Monday Night Raw the following Monday with that belt on.
Okay.
If you go look at the April, that show was April 13th. So whatever the following Monday was in 2000, you'll see it.
Hey, how's it going, Rob?
Talking some ECW, Rob.
Yeah, just incredible. I see. I should have known Justin. Sorry, Justin.
So you was at that show?
Yeah, 4th row. And remember, that's the show. It was an accident because I didn't know they were coming, and I was getting my Road Warrior tickets, and they said, "Well, we got a show," and it's like, "Well, who is it?" "Oh, I'll take tickets to that too." So I got 4th row. Of course, we couldn't see a damn thing. I don't think Kelly's seen hardly any of it. People are standing on their chairs. It was poor seating. Even in the 4th row, we had a hard time seeing. So,
was it they have pretty good sized crowd?
Oh yeah, it was packed, full house. So I don't know how those people.
Where was it at? They're at the Egyptian Room.
Egyptian Room.
I've been in that place. I can imagine. Yeah, that'd be a packed place for a wrestling show.
Yeah, it was.
I've been to a concert there.
Yeah.
But that, I don't remember who Mike Awesome's manager was, but he said there's nobody can take us. And then that when Taz's music hit, oh man, that place just went nuts.
You're right, Kelly. It sucks being short.
I was gonna say you really
I identify with that. I've been to many concerts, and it seems like I get the 7-foot guy in front of me every time. Me and my wife went to a Rod Stewart concert, and we there Deer Creek. I'm not even gonna try to call it the other thing. That's Deer Creek to me, but we were inside the whatever they want to call that pavilion, and we had to go sit out in the lawn because the dude in front of me was 7 foot tall. So couldn't see anything.
But the same way for me, and I'm not. I mean, I'm not tall, but I'm a little taller than you. And we sat in the pavilion for melon camp, and 2 tall people sat right in front of us.
I did set
Out on the lawn. You can see a lot better because you're up on a hill. And then
I set
Yeah,
12,
that's the problem. Yeah,
12th row for Bob Seeger, and I was on the end seat. And I noticed the security guard kept coming by. People kept going out in the middle of the aisle so they could see. And he would keep telling them no. And then finally he got pissed off and he would just start bumping into them, about knocking them down. Well, one time I was kind of, sticking myself out there so I could see. And this dude was like 6'8", great big dude. And he looked down at me and he just went on. He said, I'm not going to say anything to him. You can't see. So, but
I thought you was a little person.
yeah, probably did. Probably thought I was a midget.
Hey, I still love the jockey story. I'm sorry. I tell Kelly every so often that jockey story is the funniest thing I've heard.
Oh, my wife, my wife and friends were like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Hey, he came up to me. I mean, I know it's weird. I'm walking around with a whip that they use, but I mean, why would I be walking around with a whip all the time? No, I mean, that's first of all. It was my wife's whip because it was the last day of the races. It was the very last day, and she'd been wanting one. And that jockey said, "The last day, I'll give you my whip." So he gave her that whip, and we went to a concert after the thing. And so when we got up, I said, "If you want me to, I'll carry that for you." Well, here comes this drunk dude. He said, "Hey, are you a jockey?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Can I get a picture?" I said, "Sure." So I'm in the picture and all these people around me and we're all smiling. And my wife and friends are like, "What are you doing?" He asked for a picture. I'll give him a picture.
Classic stuff. I do. I'm laughing about that about once a week.
I made the guy's day. He's never gonna know him unless he's watching. He's never gonna know that I wasn't a jockey.
That dude probably has a picture of him and you up on his wall.
Hey, technically, to the track, I was a jockey. I got the 40% discount.
Yeah, that's what I was
for a couple of months.
Love that story.
Just going up there to eat, and they was giving me a 40% discount.
We went to Shelbyville. The people beside us thought we were boat jockeys.
Yeah, said do you have any tips for the races? And no, I was why. They said, well, we thought maybe you guys were jockeys. Why would we be sitting there eating all the barbecues? You would have loved this. They had a barbecue buffet at that time, and it was outstanding.
At the casino there in Shelbyville.
Yeah, they don't have any more, but at that time, and it was outstanding. They had brisket, ribs.
Wow, they'll be starting that.
It was
talking about barbecue right now.
Oh yeah.
So we got there early so we could go to the buffet because we was going to. It was one of the bigger horse races, but we was going
Kentucky Derby, I think.
No,
if it wasn't Preakness, okay,
Preakness. Yeah, Preakness. We decided to go down, and it's a totally different atmosphere because, like, Anderson, they have the carts.
Yeah.
Well, there they don't, and man, the people are there in Shelbyville were rowdy compared to
rowdy crowd,
compared to Anderson.
Anderson, a lot more older people.
Yeah, Anderson, a lot older people, just kind of laid back. You go there in Shelbyville at the horse race, and people are going nuts.
They go crazy. Yeah.
It was fun, but it was.
Next storyline was I had for ECW was the one night stand, which really was an excellent. I don't know if you remember that the excellent pay per view WWE did with ECW.
Is that where RVD won, took it off Cena?
Yep.
And Paul Heyman made the count.
Yep. That's pretty good.
They said that RVD better take that title, or that would have been an ECW riot if Cena walked out of there.
Another really good storyline that a lot of people forget about. I assume Mark has definitely seen it. It was Cactus Jack against the fans in ECW, where he goes against the fans and he starts kind of dressing up in a suit, and he's tired of taking the beating and just putting his body on the line, and it was really good. It was really good. Of course, another big thing was when the angry Steve Austin showed up and started cutting promos after he got fired from WCW. Against Bischoff and all that, and it kind of, I think that's where in a way his character came from, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I do too. I do too.
Or definitely headed that way. Next up on the list was they got completely kicked off TV, all their networks for a while. TV, the three-way kiss between Tommy Dreamer, Beulah McGillicuddy, and Kamano Wanalea. That was the storyline where supposedly Beulah was cheating on Tommy, and they kept saying it was this person or this person. Well, it was this guy. No, it wasn't a guy. It was another girl.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that. You said that.
Yep. That was crazy. The ECW original invasion of WWE when you know,
That's where they're
of course,
sitting in the front row,
they-
right?
Yep.
Heyman, Sandman, and Tommy, or somebody sitting in the front row, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Here's a storyline. There's no way they could ever do this today. The crucifixion of the Sandman.
You
By
know,
Raven.
you know the story about Kurt Angle, right?
I've got it
Kurt
wrote
Angle
down
was
there.
thinking of
Kurt
going to
Angle.
ECW, and he said, "You take my name, you use my name one time,
He
and
was at
we're
that show.
suing your ass."
He was at that show, and he was going to join ECW, and them fools did a crucifixion angle there, and he went nuts. He left and didn't have anything to do with wrestling for a year, I don't think, after that. And then then he went to WWE.
Said, you bring my name up once or anything, show my likeness, and I will own you. It's like
So that was before he went to WWE
Yes.
originally.
Yeah, it was about a year before he went originally. He talked about going to ECW because he was from Pennsylvania.
So they could have had a
Philadelphia.
chance to get Angle,
Yeah.
and they blew it.
well, they blew it.
Number 2 on this storyline list is The Blinding of the Sandman by Tommy Dreamer, who got him in the eye with a lit cigarette and a kendo stick.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other big story, I don't think it was, to me, it's not the number one storyline, but I also understand why they might do it, is when Shane Douglas threw the title away, the NWA title in the trash, and they
And
changed
that started ECW, yeah.
That started ECW, which I can understand that being one. It probably wasn't my favorite storyline, but
No, I think the Steve Austin thing should have been number 1 on my list, but
Yeah, I think I would probably agree. Oh no, you might have to put the crucifixion of the Sandman because it cost you Kurt Angle.
yeah, that's a touchy subject on that one. And you're right. There's no way they would have. Oh man, nobody would even touch that today.
Let me ask you a question real quick. I know when WWE first bought ECW, we talked about it before. It was going to be like Shane was going to run it, and it wasn't going to be on TV.
well, it wasn't when they first bought it, but after they had it for a little while, Shane was going to put it as a web series on computer, online, and it was going to be the ECW, crazy stuff, like they did before, with Heyman running it and Shane, and wasn't going to be on TV. Well,
They could do a lot more online.
Yeah.
If they would have done that, how much I think ECW would have been with the WWE would have blew up more instead of doing what it did.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't put the ECW original on WWE TV with a PG-13.
Yeah.
You just couldn't do it.
No.
So they had to basically water ECW down.
Yeah.
If they would have done it like they were talking, doing it that way on YouTube and stuff like that, I think it would have.
What if you went?
It would have exploded.
What if you went to HBO? Or something like that, and put
then look what happened to streaming. So they ended up with WWE Network. You could have had the ECW and that would worked out perfect for you if you had already had the ECW going, and then you.
But even the streaming service, they went PG though.
Yeah,
but I mean that's what the direction they went to make it worth more money.
Yeah.
I mean, but
and you can't have ECW and no blood, and Vince and his blood rules. So
but yeah,
I think if they had done it that way, it would have been just on like the internet, YouTube, or they could have still done the ECW stuff. It would have just kept growing.
Yeah, I bet it would have.
Because look how popular death matches are now. And I'd much rather watch it. And no offense to deathmatch wrestlers, but I'd much rather watch the old ECW hardcore style than just a straight up death match. But that's just my taste.
Well, and that's the other thing. If they would have called that anything else, I think if they'd have called it WCW or they would have called it a new show, wouldn't have called it ECW, that show might have did a lot better. But calling it ECW,
because when you say ECW fans are expecting ECW.
So I think that if they'd called it anything else.
Justin Danger said he thinks they used ECW to see if gimmicks would be able to come back like the zombie horrible.
Yeah, Vince found out about the project and he got involved, and that was.
Well, and then wasn't he the ECW title holder there for a while too? Once he had it,
he might have been, yeah. But that was the list I had.
Well, some of the things I had was I watched that thing Paul Heyman did. There's a thing on Peacock, Paul Heyman and Joey Styles talking, and they said use the word extreme, and then everybody used the word extreme.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, not just Burger King had the extreme Whopper, and somebody had this was extreme, and he said we were the first.
Yeah.
And basically, as I always put it, ECW only had one rule: the pin had to happen in the ring. There was no countouts, no DQs.
Nope.
You were all over the place doing whatever you wanted, but you had to make the pin in the ring. And if you ever notice, all the pins always come back to the ring. So,
and that's one thing that I know the fans get on Bully Ray about, because he's critical of AEW and the rules. And he said he understands. ECW didn't have any rules. He said, but if you learn psychology of wrestling, he said I came into the business the wrong way. He said you need psychology. You need to. If you got a ref there,
you gotta make it make sense.
You have to have it make sense. You don't want to make him look like a fool. And he said, because I did bad things first, don't mean that okay, everybody can have a pass. He said there's a right way and there's a wrong way. He said, of course, I learned the wrong way. And he said, then I learned the right way from guys like Terry Funk and guys like that and like that. So he said that's what he's trying. But he said they're getting a pass right now. AEW's getting a pass right now because they draw pretty well, even though they're not drawing quite as well. It's went down some. Their TV numbers have went down too. So we'll see what happens with that. I think it's the thing is it's just their fan base and it's not growing. I think ECW grew. ECW just had a money problem.
Yeah,
didn't have enough money. If they could ever got a real TV deal, who knows? The big problem was going to be able to keep the wrestlers because with WWE and WCW knocking on the door, how could the guys stay?
Well, how could Mike Awesome be the world title holder then to go to a dumb, stupid gimmick like that 70s man?
Yeah. Did you
come on, he's the world champion, and he goes to the dumbest gimmick that you could come up with at the time.
This is how brainwashed these guys are, and it may not be the right term. Bully Ray went to Paul Heyman and said, look, WWE's here. They're wanting us to leave. And they're offering us a lot more money. And I know you can't match that. He said, he said, I can't match what they're giving, so I'm not even offering you anything because I can't match it. They said they told Heyman, you give us $1 more than what we're making right now, we'll stay. And they said Heyman wouldn't do it. And I think the reason Heyman didn't do it was because he didn't want to hold him back.
Did you ever hear the story? Sonny and Chris Candido was in ECW, and she made a statement that she had to, I think, mortgage her house to help pay ECW payroll. I think I heard or read that somewhere one time.
I know he had a lot of problems with payroll.
So,
yeah, there were some that didn't get paid. Who I think it was Van Dam that said that he never. I know there was a wrestler I was watching. I think it was Van Dam said that he never. No, it wasn't Van Dam. It was a dude that they get onto about. He was part of the Canadian guy and
Lance Storm.
Dan Storm. He said that he never missed a paycheck because he went one time and said, "Look, if you miss one more, I'm done." And he said after that, he always got his money. Always, but he said there were some that didn't.
Yeah, I heard. If you hear, you watch shoot interviews, they'll tell you.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that's where I heard from Sonny in one of her shoot interviews that they mortgaged their house to help pay payroll. Yep. So
yeah, if he wouldn't have had the money problems, he wasn't a businessman. He was a thinker. He was an idea guy.
Okay, so you've seen the Egyptian Room, and I don't remember what we paid for those tickets because that was in 2000. But how do you not make payroll? I mean, they had a fan base.
Oh yeah, they had a fan
where's
base.
That money going? I mean,
but they probably weren't getting WWE money for tickets.
Well, no, and like I said, that was almost a quarter of a century ago now. But still, I would think
it might not have been charging enough for tickets. I mean, again, I don't know how many tickets.
That's what kind of insurance you got to have when you run a show like ECW.
Yep.
What's the building require you to have? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
I don't know.
Well, he broke every rule. He said he broke every rule. He said he got away with so much because his dad was a lawyer. He said just like all the music they used, they never had a rights to any of that music. He just used it. His
So
dad was a lawyer.
I'll label on your podcast then, Tony or Chris.
Yeah. His dad was a lawyer, and then his dad told him what he could do and couldn't do, what he could get away with.
Wow.
Hell, that might have been where some of the money was going. Lawsuits.
Well, he wasn't a businessman, and
He
that's
did say that New Jack cost him a lot of money.
well.
You could only imagine,
Oh,
especially with the mass transit issue, and that may be why he didn't have money for
well,
anything else. But
they would have had pay-per-view a year sooner than they did, and it was they had a deal, and they did a show, and that's the show where somebody didn't make it, and somebody said, "Well, I got a wrestler right here," and the dude ended up not being a wrestler, ended up being 17 years old, didn't know what he's doing, and New Jack basically cut him from, I forget, I mean, a lot of stitches, and the dude was only 17 years old.
yeah, he about bled to death. So
Of course, he lied. Yeah, he lied and said he was a wrestler, and then they used him, and that was all their fault. Not only just New Jack being an idiot, but also Heyman.
yeah,
You know, you got to know your people. That was a mistake, and that cost him pay per view. So it took a year. And he said the only reason they ever got pay per view was the audience. Said people writing letters to this company and just kept writing letters. We want this. We want this. We want this, and that's how they finally got a pay per view. And it had to be on. They weren't allowed to be on till like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It couldn't even be on an 8 o'clock slot.
Well, if you remember original wrestling back in the 80s and 70s, that they didn't start their shows until 9 o'clock at night anyway. Yep. If you ever see some of those old posters, they say it's 9 o'clock and they had an 11 o'clock curfew.
And that first pay per view was awesome.
Yeah,
that was first pay per view was that Barely Legal. That was awesome. I went back and watched it a few times.
Yeah, that's what a 6-man tag was. That actually may be the very first match on that.
Yeah, I'll have to look because I know that's on the network. So
yeah,
I remember watching it live. Me and you. I think James Garner came over to the house that night.
I believe so. I believe you're right.
I remember watching it.
I spent a lot of money on pay-per-views, man. I got them all. I got ECW, I got WCW, I got WWF.
When I was in high school, all my buddies they'd come over to the house on pay-per-view night because they knew it was going to be on.
Yeah, how I worked it with WrestleMania every year. We did a party every year. My mom, my dad, Kelly's side of the family, and we'd buy WrestleMania. But then we had trouble 2 years in a row because that's when the cable company had a big boxing event, and the big boxing event, and we didn't get WrestleMania 2 years.
Really?
Well, because that's back when you got that thing you screwed into the cable thing and then put that scrambler.
See, I never had that.
Yeah, that was in the old days.
Ours, the old cable company, you had to have a certain box.
I had the box.
If you didn't have that box, and you wanted pay-per-view, you'd have to go get the box.
And that's how come we had to do it that way. And it was a round thing about that big, about that long.
Yeah, but I had the box, so I had the box I needed, so I didn't ever have to do that. But yeah, I can remember my wife said, I remember which pay-per-view it was, the Buried Alive pay-per-view.
I was there. I didn't have to have that one.
Yeah. My wife said, my friend at work, she's got 2 little boys, and they're wanting to see that pay-per-view. Can they come over and watch it? I said, we know these people. And I said, yeah, they can come over. I didn't even know them. She said, what's my friend? I said, well, all right. So she came and 2 kids came. DeJuan, he was there. A little boy that used to stay at our house a lot. We all watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, back then was what, $80 or something. I mean, it still is. If you go and look to see how much it costs, if you don't have Peacock, that shit's still like, oh gosh.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing that worries me.
I remember like Survivor Series because right around my birthday, I'd have a bunch of friends would come over and stay all night, and we'd all watch Survivor Series. That'd be like my birthday party.
Yeah, and I can remember originally they did Survivor Series originally on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
or the night before, or the night before, or Thanksgiving. That's when they did it originally. I thought was pretty cool. Now you got so much NFL and college and everything. I guess probably wouldn't work out.
I remember going to like grandma and grandpa's for Thanksgiving, and then going home to go watch the pay per view.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's one thing that worries me about Peacock is if WWE sells, whoever gets it, if ESPN or whoever gets it, they're going to charge a bunch again for pay per views.
Well, I heard that come June 1st, Peacock's going to be, you're going to have to pay for it anyway.
Well, I've got the premium service of Peacock. It's $10 a month. That's the premium.
I'll probably end up paying that too.
So it's not bad. It's not bad. And plus, I watch some other shows on Peacock. Peacock's pretty good service, really.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And I'll probably pay the $5 to $10, whatever it is, too.
Yeah.
When it comes up, so.
But I worry once that agreement's up. It was a 5-year agreement. Probably gonna maybe a couple years left, 2 or 3 years left.
Probably.
I worry that whenever they sell, that whoever gets it, like ESPN's got ESPN Plus. Well, you can pay the $10.99 for ESPN Plus and get all the programming, but then when they do a UFC pay-per-view because they got UFC, that's another $80.
Yeah.
So that Plus don't help you any.
No.
So I
hope they don't do that with WWE.
Yeah,
well, it don't affect us.
It really don't affect me.
But
I can't talk about that. But
All right, we got off topic, didn't we?
Okay, yeah, we did.
We always do.
Imagine that.
Started with you being a jockey, but anyhow.
Went off the rails.
Here's a piece of trivia. We'll see if you know. Who is the first one to kick out of the Superfly? And it happened at an ECW event. So Jimmy Snuka was the one that did Superfly.
I remember him being ECW.
And he was the first man to kick out of that Superfly. Who was it?
Was it original ECW guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That probably give you the answer.
I remember you saying this once, Marcus, but now I can't remember who it is now.
Well, you've already brought him up as one of the original people, so.
Okay.
Was it Taz?
Mm-mm.
I'd say Van Dam.
Mm-mm.
No.
Dreamer
did.
Tommy Dreamer. Yeah, and Dreamer was wearing like suspenders, blue pants and suspenders. If I remember.
Oh yeah. That was before. Yeah, that was his. Before he was the white meat baby face, and not tough enough. They booed him until he just took a beating after beating after beating, and then the crowd loved him.
Yeah, and Superfly was a heel, and hadn't been a heel since the probably late 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was a big heel in WWF.
Yeah.
And then him and Captain Lou had a falling out, and he became. What do you think would have happened? Because the original plan was for before Hogan came in, the number one guy was going to be Snuka.
See, it's easy to say it now. I can't see it now. Back then, you don't know. Snuka was a big draw.
When he jumped off that cage, nobody had seen anything like that. And so
everybody's doing it. Even Rikishi's jumped off the cage. So
the stock went so up for him. If Hogan don't come in, he really didn't talk a whole lot.
No, he did like Bruiser Brody, that growling crap. But
they probably would have had Captain Lou with him, I guess. I don't know.
Do you remember who Snuka's manager was after he went face? And now I'm lost the name.
No, I don't remember.
Who was the first AW or NWA WWF champ?
Buddy Rogers.
That's who his manager was.
Okay.
Because they had Rogers Corner.
Yep, I remember that now.
For a while, and it was.
Yeah, Rogers was it.
Well, when you compare it to Piper, even though Piper hadn't got there yet, you always base those talk shows, those things off Piper's Pit, and nobody could compare to that. So
no.
I tell you, Piper's Pit was great, but I tell you one I forgot about until I watched was the Snake Pit with Jake Snake Roberts. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't Piper. Don't get me wrong.
See, again, like nobody, you can't top Piper.
No.
So. Okay. Well, then also ECW had Sex Sold because they got really risque.
Yeah.
I mean, you thought Sable and the painted boobs was bad. ECW, of course, you don't have a PG-13 that can stay with. You can do just about anything.
Oh,
so.
they pushed it. But, really, ECW kind of give really, I think this is kind of the reason the Attitude Era happened, because WCW was trouncing them, and I think they took a lot of their ideas from ECW, reformed them. I mean, changed them. They didn't do straight ECW because they couldn't, but they pushed the envelope pretty hard. And I think a lot of ECW influenced. Well, they influenced WCW, like you said before, with all the luchadors.
Yeah.
So
And the
I mean,
Mexican wrestlers too.
what would
Now,
wrestling
that's
be?
the luchadors, yeah. But they brought the Japan people in too, it sounded like.
Yeah, what would wrestling be if ECW never happened?
I wouldn't be a hardcore fan. I mean, because I was eating that shit up. I tell you what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, the wrestling industry would be so much different right now.
Yeah, well, Paul Heyman made a statement that, they say that they had Austin flipping off McMahon, but they said originally Taz flipped off Paul Heyman first and was against his boss first. And they think that's how Stone Cold they used that. I mean, you need to listen to that Paul Heyman thing. I mean, that man's a genius when it comes to
Yeah.
storytelling and
Have you
business deals. And he may not have been able to pay his business deals, but boy, could he work out.
And they said the locker room. They said that he could talk to the locker room and he said there could be 50 people in the locker room, and he could have all 50 people into a rage, ready to fight the world, ready to fight everybody, ready to do anything. I mean, he was just a genius at that too.
Yeah.
Motivation wise.
Do you remember Brian Pillman fighting the pencil?
Yep.
Now, I got the story on that too. That Kevin Sullivan was the booker for WCW. And he called Heyman and says, Brian Pillman's going to call you. You can take the call. And it had to do with the way they call those the bookers, because the booker would write their matches in the book. And so Brian Pillman was fighting the booker, the pencil, and that's where that story come from. Him fighting that pencil I thought was hilarious myself. But
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and the pencil's like 6 foot tall. It's just not a pen; it's a 6-foot pencil.
Yeah.
So Joel Gertner was part of the commentary team with Joey Styles, and he'd ramble off his name for 5 minutes, and there's always sexual endos in it, and Joel Gertner. But to get up to Joel Gertner, it was like a 5-minute introduction of himself, because nobody else could do it. And so I like Joel Gertner myself because of the way he did that every week. Let me see what else I got, because I got all kinds of stuff here. They set a fan on fire. I don't remember that at all.
I don't either.
It came up in discussion with Paul Heyman and Joey Styles. It was an accident, of course. They just did go out and set a fan on fire.
Well,
it was a mishap.
Referees setting masters on fire now. So.
And he said that, and of course, there's another lawsuit. So no wonder he couldn't afford to pay nobody if he had to keep doing damage control like that. You remember Kane Dewey? That Dewey was Mick Foley's son.
Yep.
And he's seen that sign in the audience that said Kane Dewey, and Dewey was only like 5. You remember that story?
Yes.
I remember it in the book. I don't remember seeing it but if you read Mick Foley's book, that was another reason why he kind of did that.
Yeah. Turn against the fans, because where he seen that sign that said Kane Dewey, Kane his boy. It's one of Kane's son.
His boy was like 5 at the time. So, and then Mick Foley getting stuck in the barbed wire because he got the rolling in it so bad that they had to cut him out of it.
Yep. Well, I think Funk did too.
Oh, probably.
I think Funk had to be cut out before. That's when they used the real barbed wire. AEW does barbed wire matches, and it's not. I'm not. You can't be in a bunch of barbed wire and a heart ever cut you. I mean, it's a little scratch. So it's not.
If you ever climbed over a fence as a kid,
yeah. So it's not.
You know that's how that works. So
I would say this is more like movie barbed wire. You think I'm probably right on that?
That's something.
Because it's not the regular barbed wire. It's not what Foley and them used
No, not at
in
all.
Japan and stuff. No.
And then I need it. Throw me a chair. I love that.
Yes.
And yeah, they cover up. They're piled up.
Yeah.
Stop throwing chairs. Well, there's not too many chairs left not to throw, so you give it a few minutes and we will be out of chairs.
I wonder how many chairs was in the ring. How many chairs got thrown? Because that was crazy.
It seemed like 100 or more. I
Well,
remember
right up to the top rope. They were that piled up on top of them.
I remember my wife walking in. What in the hell's going on?
I bet your wife walks into a lot of that and what you're watching.
She does. She does not like AEW at all.
Oh man, she hates AEW.
She's used to WWE and she likes it to tolerate it, that kind of thing, type thing. But AEW, she'll sit there and say, "This is horrible. Why are you watching this?"
And then I had Bam Bam going through the ring.
Yeah.
I came out there that one night. She goes, "You don't want to watch this. This is terrible. You don't want to watch this." I was like, "Oh."
The
I'm not the
Malenko
biggest
Heavy
fan.
3 falls. Let me see. I'm thinking about it after I look out on my list. Oh, and Sandman always coming through the crowd. He never come through the entrance. He's always off. Even in Indy, he come like down at the end of the curtain, but he still walked through the crowd to get there. And then New Jack. And he's trash canning, hitting everybody with everything. And
I did see a story about Francine. She had went and worked at they had a little ECW dojo, and she'd worked out there for a few months. Her very first thing they had her do, she showed up to the show, said, "We're going to use you today." And she shows up. She has no idea what she's going to do. She didn't even know what it was, what they was doing to her. They even after they told her, she didn't know what it was. 911 is going to choke slam you.
okay, 911, yeah.
Yeah, okay. She didn't know what choke slam was. Never touched choke slam before. And if you watch that choke slam, it about broke her in half because she wasn't not a very big lady.
No.
I mean, maybe 110 pounds if that.
Yeah. And that was all on boob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about half of a boob. Yeah, and then he was a big dude. I don't know how tall he was. I'm gonna say he was
I
a
bet
big
he's 7, at least 7. Yeah.
and he big as Nash, and he picks her up, and I mean he slams her as hard as he can, and she'd never took a slam before. Heyman said, "Hey, we're gonna use you tonight. You gonna get choke slam at 911." Oh, okay.
I like the 911 storyline. Anytime Heyman didn't like what was going on, he just called 911. That guy come out and
choke
even
slam.
attacked the guy doing the national anthem and Santa Claus and yeah.
And then they did talk about the match, and I've watched the match before. It's actually a good match, especially considering it's a hardcore match. But it's two people they weren't wrestlers. It was Sabu's manager, the dude with the whistle,
Bill Alfonso,
yeah.
taking on Beulah McGillicuddy in a hardcore,
which was Tommy's girlfriend
and his wife now.
Yeah.
They beat the holy crap out of each other. I mean, they were both just covered in blood. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But honestly, do you think, how do I say this the right way? Because I don't want people to take offense. In my opinion, I'll say it that way because it leaves you guys out of it. And I'm asking you guys questions, so I guess I don't leave it out of it. Do you think hardcore wrestling in some situations can cover up for a person's lack of wrestling ability?
Yeah, more than you know.
Yep.
If they do nothing but want to hardcore wrestle, it means that they can't wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, because ECW, they had guys that wasn't big names, but they got over with the crowd because of the stuff they did in the ring. And don't get me wrong, they brought in luchadors, they brought in great wrestlers, and that got over with the crowd. But there was other stuff that got over the crowd was violence. So if you was violent in the ring.
And I've seen wrestlers that I've seen like not wrestle hardcore, and I really didn't care for it, but then wrestle a hardcore match and be the best match I've seen them in.
Well, it's both on top of our heads right now because we're thinking of the same person.
So I agree it can.
There's a wrestler out there that, I agree. I've seen several of their matches, and I don't really, it's not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way. And I seen that person do a hardcore match, and it's by far the best match that they've done.
And is it the same guy that did a comedy match?
I don't want to give myself away.
Well, I know, but is that what we're thinking?
No, not a comedy match.
Well, have we seen them together this year? No. Okay, then
Not the one I'm thinking about.
Yes.
We have?
like first of the month.
No.
If we're thinking of the same person.
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Where's my pen? I don't know if I brought my pen in there. Yeah. But he's thinking of
No, he asked if we've all seen them together this year. That's what you was asking.
but he
right?
asked about a comedy match, and I
Yeah,
think
but
he's,
no,
It
not
started out that way. It didn't end that way.
he's thinking of Summit.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
that's it.
Not Summit.
no, not
Don't
that.
have anything to do with Summit.
No, it don't have to do with Summit, but was he on that show?
No.
No.
Okay.
And I can't say anything because it'll give it away.
Yeah, well, that's
We'll
what I
just-
was thinking.
We'll
But
just,
they were on a show that all three of us were at.
yes.
Okay, last year in February.
No,
Yes.
about a month ago.
Last year.
Oh
in
yeah,
February.
and then last year in February. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
I think we're on the same page now.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk afterwards. But you know Chris knows who I'm talking, and I think he falls in that same category that you just described.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not putting anybody down that does hardcore. I like hardcore matches, and some of the death match. I don't think death matches is for that would be something I could go to all the time. I've seen them on TV, and it's okay. It's not something that I would go out of my way to watch. Just me personally.
Okay, I'll say that. I will watch it on TV every so often. I don't want to be in attendance because you can't control glass.
Yeah.
And I can't move fast.
Yeah.
Kelly can't move fast. So we cannot be part of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Because of that reason. But to see one every so often, if I'm not there, I'll watch it happen.
Well,
but,
perfect example. John Moxley is very good in the ring and very over. He loves to do death matches. So I mean, he likes to do that. That's something he enjoys doing, and he likes bleeding because he bleeds all the time. But
I've never been to a death match live. I watch some of them on TV sometimes because we'll watch a Game Changer. Especially when there's like, because you see guys from Indiana on there.
Would you want to see Hoodfoot got filleted live?
Oh no,
I don't. It was rough enough on pay per view for me.
Oh, yeah,
I'm just saying for me personally.
Well, it was kind of scary just because you know the guy.
But-
he's from Indiana.
But by the same token, something else that scared the crap out of me, and it wasn't a death match, and that was Ric Flair's last match because I thought
I thought he was going to die in the ring.
I thought Ric Flair was going to die in the ring.
well, he looked like he was half dead anyway. I mean,
Yeah, he.
I thought I did. I kept looking at that. I kept telling, we were live.
Yeah, we were live.
Dude, he's going to die.
I said, yeah, I think he's dying on the air. I mean, hopefully he don't do any more matches.
Oh, he'll do another one.
he'll do another one.
I think.
I hate to say it.
I think Charlotte's trying to keep him from.
I hate to say it, but he probably is going to die in the ring. He's probably going to keep doing matches until he does. They're not going to give him to stop.
Well, that's why WWE don't hire him. They don't want to put him on the road because he's crazy. He'll drink himself to death. He's nuts. They don't want any part of that. They don't want to be a part of the problem.
Now he's hanging out with Mike Tyson.
No, that's hanging out with Tyson. Mike Tyson smoking weed.
He has his own. Yeah, he has his own.
He's got his own line of weed.
That don't surprise me one bit.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I did have a list. I
Okay.
wrote down. Can you tell me? Let's see how many of these you can get. I got my pen right here. I got the answers. The 9 Dudley half brothers.
Oh,
Start naming them off. I wrote them down last night. I was intrigued. I got half. Well, 4.
I know there's Dick Dudley.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on.
There was a sign guy Dudley,
Sign guy Dudley. Hang on. Yep.
and then the little one Spike,
Spike Dudley. Yes.
and of course Devon and
Bubba
Billy
Ray.
Ray or Billy, whatever it was. That's 5. So
Mhm.
there's 4 more, and I have no idea.
You got any ideas, Chris?
no. I'm thinking I'm getting a blank.
Okay. I seen Dudley.
Don't remember that.
I don't either. How about Snot Dudley?
Don't remember Snot.
Chubby Dudley.
Nope.
And then dances with Dudley.
I think I might have seen dances with Dudley. Dudley, I think.
Yeah, I came up there when I was watching that Paul Heyman Joey thing, and like I screenshot it. I got to write down real quick. It's like, hey, there's a lot of money. Because I remember Sign Guy
Yep.
and Big Dick, and of course Bubba Ray and Devon and Spike. So I knew those guys. I didn't know the Snot. I never heard of him, or
Nope.
Dances, or Chubby, or. So I guess I had maybe 6 of them. So.
Yeah, I never heard none of them other ones.
No, definitely Snot.
Well, yeah, I don't even want to look up Snot because I'm just thinking
Yeah, who knows?
where he's going to go with that. So
After seeing them, that when we looked up the bad gimmicks and I seen that tag team that would come to the ring with 2 condoms, dressed as a condom. I'm like, the Johnson
I'll
brothers.
tell you a story. It's something that at the Emerge show, Roger was telling me Percy Jackson brings dum-dum suckers to the ring. You know, the dum-dum suckers,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
you go to the bank, that's normally where you would get dum-dum suckers, is at the
Yep.
bank. And he gave one to his opponent. And his opponent looked at it. Now, this is going to get gross. So
Oh God.
he said, there's something wrong with this. And Percy's like, okay, what's wrong with it? He took it and he stuck it in his belly button, spin it around a few times. And
Put it in his mouth.
And well, he also said he was picking the crap out between his toes and eating it. And he said something else. I couldn't remember what else. And Percy, I guess, Roger said Percy's over there trying not to throw up. And well, here's something else. The trash can that I got creamed with went on the 50-50. And the guy didn't want it. And Roger went to Ricky and asked him, okay, the guy didn't want it. And Ricky looked at him and said, oh, if I had known you wanted it, I would have given it to you. I almost had the trash can because then he was going to give it to me that I got smacked into from Big Beef and Cole Radrick.
Okay.
So, but I didn't because they wasn't thinking ahead of time. But
So what they end up doing with it?
some other guy got it because the guy didn't want it out because you got the money in the signed trash can from Big Beef and Cole Radrick. He didn't want the trash can, and he left it, and then they gave it to somebody else. And Ricky said he wasn't thinking, or he would have given it to Roger since me and Roger's the one that got creamed with it. So I almost had it because Roger was going to give it to me.
Yeah, Cole was on pay-per-view Saturday and Sunday.
He's got a
on,
show of
Game
his
Station.
own at the end of April that's damn near sold out already, and he hasn't even announced his first match yet. It's down in Seymour or Spencer or somewhere.
Spencer.
Yeah.
And he's from Spencer.
And he's almost got it sold out, and he hasn't even announced his first match yet. So that's marketing.
And real quick, I know we didn't get to go, but everything I saw about New Era, I know it was another sold out,
Yeah, I did see it was sold out.
standing room only
And I heard
show.
Braden won.
Okay.
That's what I heard. He took on Jordan Dye.
It sucked. I figured it was going to be a good show. It sucked.
Hey, they
we didn't
did
get
it
to go,
again up north. Justin Danger, he's on here. He can tell you he was on that show. They sold out up there too.
Good.
So, and they said they had a hard time because of the snow getting back up there and back down because of the snow. But
Do you guys have any problem with snow?
we woke up Saturday, which is the damnedest thing, because we spent the night in southern Indiana. And I went in the back room because our laundry room's back there, and I kind of glanced out the window like, you got to be shitting me. So I walked in and said, you ain't going to believe this, but the ground is covered out there. But the minute we got south, hit Indy, nothing. There's nothing down there.
Yeah, we got quite a bit here pretty quick, but it melted pretty quick too.
But yeah, and it's like I was cussing at my Alexa because she told me, we weren't getting nothing, and then we got the hardest snow hit for the year, really. So
yeah, when I saw it, I said it's snowing hard.
Yeah,
well, we stayed. Like I said, we stayed in Jeffersonville, but Bruce said he hit snow coming back because he lives in Speedway, and they hit snow coming back home Saturday night. So
yeah, it snowed here.
Even coming back home, you could tell it's kind of snowed when we were gone, but
that's good because it snowed quite a bit here Saturday, pretty much all day.
Yep. Do you have anything?
Not anymore. No,
Yeah.
everything I've had, we've already talked about.
Okay. Well, Marcus, where you go? No, you got some plans this weekend.
Well, we'll
some
be at the.
shows.
Well, they're kind of split out a little bit because we leave. We got the Hall of Fame on Friday.
Yep.
So we will see you Friday.
Yep.
And then we'll leave out Saturday morning for Somerset, Kentucky, and we'll see if the fishing works or not. They're talking rain down there. We will be on for Scott Diamond on that Wednesday because that's a week from Wednesday. So I'll definitely be on somewhere. Probably Pigeon Forge. I think that's where we're at. We'll see the micros at the Microtorium on Thursday of next week. And on Friday the 31st, it's I think it's called the Northern Wrestling Federation. It's in Covington, Kentucky.
Okay. Yep.
And the Sharp Brothers are on it. And the Sharp Brothers was at Emerge too.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. So I think they work
Starting to get their name out there.
Sean and Chase Holiday.
Okay.
I think
they may be champions in Emerge now. Sean and
yes.
Holiday.
Yeah, we seen that the Emerge show I was at. They beat Draven, and I don't remember his partner's name, Malcolm, I think. But yeah, oh man, you talk about a pop. That was the opening match because Merge does their first match on YouTube. And those two guys and Mortimer Blankenship, which is their manager, come out. And that crowd just booed them. It was you talk about how they had the crowd like right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we got 3 shows. Well, you can't really call the Hall of Fame a show, but we'll be there. And then we'll see the micros at the Microtorium and then the Northern Wrestling Federation. And then we'll be in Lebanon, Indiana for the cage match between Dex Royal and Dutch Boy Platinum on the 1st.
And I'd like to see that.
I would
it just
too.
sucks at the same night as WrestleMania.
Well, Dex, I'm telling you, he's doing that 2 out of 3 falls hardcore with Brody on Friday and then doing the cage match with Dutch Boy on Saturday. That boy's going to come Sunday morning, prop him up to watch WrestleMania because he ain't going to be worth a damn doing anything else. I mean,
we got Hall of Fame on Friday, DCCW Saturday, Warrior Pro on Sunday.
Yep.
Oh, and speaking of that, Stephen Hurt, which is the promoter owner of JICW, will be at Warrior Pro, and Roger will introduce him to you guys since I won't be there.
Yep. Okay. And I also, I'll say it off there.
What did you say he was the promoter for who?
JICW.
Okay, I thought
Stephen Hurt. And since I will be there, I asked Roger to introduce him to you guys, and he's willing. I talked to Stephen Saturday, and he says his schedule's starting to slow down from the winter and all. He'd be glad to come on the show. So,
all right, yeah, we'll talk to him, and then see next. And then we don't have nothing the next week.
Nope.
Because of WrestleMania, but then we have the big invasion show.
Yeah, I know you won't be on the show this coming Monday because you'll be on the road.
Right.
And so what we're thinking about doing, we're going to find out. We don't know yet. We don't think we can go live Saturday at DCCW because of their internet situation at that building. We're going to find out if we can't go live. I think what we're going to do instead of doing G.W.R. on Monday, we were thinking about possibly airing that show.
Okay, and commentating through it or just air it? You're going to film it there though anyway, right? Even if you don't go live.
Yeah, okay. Film it,
we'll film it there and do the commentary, and then we'll just put it on our channel live on Monday if we can't do it.
If we can't go live Saturday.
I got you. Well, what topic you want?
Kind of like what we done for
what you want to do for the second? I guess it's April 2nd. Then when the
3rd.
April. It'll be
3rd.
third.
Yeah,
the 3rd. We'll probably definitely talk some WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'll definitely see WrestleMania night 2.
You might be able to catch up on some highlights in one, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see because I don't know when we'll be. Well, we'll be in Lebanon.
Yeah,
so we'll definitely be home.
Well, you'll have Monday daytime too, so
yeah,
maybe catch up a little bit. We'll talk some WrestleMania, maybe talk some old WrestleManias too.
Yeah, let's just do that. You just want to make it a WrestleMania Monday.
Yep.
We can talk about the one that just happened and anything from the past if you want.
Yep.
That sounds good.
Maybe come up with some list, our favorite moments, favorite matches.
I can do that. Yeah, let's do that. That's fantastic. That'll work. We can do the best of and the worst of.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we can do worst stuff. I wonder what would be my worst match from WrestleMania.
Oh man.
I'm about to go back and look. I
well,
know what my worst
WrestleMania 2 is the worst WrestleMania they had.
the worst thing from Survivor Series is I can't think of the name. The thing that came out of the egg.
Oh.
Gobbledygooker.
Gobbledygooker. That's the worst thing from
Well, I can
Survivor
tell you
Series.
what the worst WrestleMania is, and that's Bundy and these little people and Hillbilly Jim and the little people in WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
How you go from being main event at 2 to that kind of match in 3? I mean,
yeah.
That didn't need to happen.
When they done the King and Doink with the little people, was that at a WrestleMania or was that? I think that was a Survivor.
I think that was
Series.
a different
because that was Survivor Series.
That was
Because
Survivor
Doink,
Series.
it was, Doink and his crew against King and
Yeah. Well,
what was it, Lanny Poffo and
matter of fact, it was 2 years in a row. It had the King against so it was supposed to go against somebody and it didn't get to. He ended up going against wait a minute. Trying to remember because it was Shawn Michaels and he had the Knights.
yeah,
I think it went against Bret Hart's family.
yeah.
And
all
then the
the
next
Hart
year
family
you had the King and the Midgets.
taking on the Doinks.
The Doinks. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the next year. So yeah.
I did watch. I haven't seen Kane yet, the Kane one, but I did watch Jerry Lawler today and Paige.
I haven't yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty
Have
good.
you ever seen Fighting with My Family?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
From the story she tells on, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that movie's pretty decent.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times actually. If I'm flipping through and it's on, I'll usually watch it.
Did you get to watch the ECW show that I told you to watch?
I don't know which one was it because I've watched a lot of ECW just in the last day.
It wasn't Exposed. It was
I can't remember. It had like Bully Ray, Taz.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't seen that one. I knew there was another one I was supposed to look.
It was
up.
the one. It was the one that I sent you the name of it to you.
Yeah, I just hadn't got to it yet because I ran in that one with Joey Styles and Paul Heyman talking.
See if I can find it here real quick.
Thanks for joining us, Billy. What are you doing?
Seeing if I could find that.
Oh. Yeah, I'm trying to think. April 8th, we have the big show with the Angle, and then we're going to be at
April 8th, we will be in Frankfort, Kentucky for Kentucky
and then
Pro Wrestling. I think's what that's called. Scott
Then
Diamond.
April-
I'll be there with Scott Diamond, which was who you'll have next week. So,
and then the 9th, we have Summit Pro.
and we'll have to see that being Easter. We may be there, we may not. I don't know at this point yet. All depends on if our family wants to do Easter, then we'll be doing that. If not, then we'll come up there from Kentucky and we'll just at this point I don't know.
Yeah, Marcus, it's called The Authentic Untold Story of ECW.
And that's on the Peacock?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real good. I've watched it. I've watched it a couple times actually. Because I'll turn it on the network and just see what's on, and it'll be on. Like earlier when I was helping that guy, Extreme Rules. One of the Extreme Rules was on. He started watching it. He started watching it.
Yeah, I like stories like that. You think they're going to come out with another series of the territories, or you think that the 10 of them are done?
I haven't heard yet. I thought they did pretty well, and that was kind of produced by The Rock, so I figured that they will do them again.
Well, I was hoping they would cover Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Because that was a big market at one time.
Yeah, it was.
So
I'm excited here. Got just I think it's like April 30th. I think that's when I know it's soon. It's going to be the Stone Cold show, and it's going to be the Hidden Treasures.
Yeah, I love that Hidden Treasure one.
Yeah, I like watching that too.
Yeah. And they're getting ready to come out. Well, I don't know if they're getting ready, but they did sign a 4th season for Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, did yep.
And Sonny's one of the. That's probably going to be the whole season right there.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of
she's done.
that American Pickers show, and that's kind of what that Buried Treasures reminds me of a little bit.
I just like though how those people got a hold of that shit myself.
Yeah.
When they went looking for any of that, how the hell did they go in that guy's room and he's got all these authentic titles? Where the hell did you get all that stuff? It's like,
well, you got Kane's original mask. How did you get Kane's original? How does Kane not have the original? How does WWE don't have that mask anymore?
Right.
Did it get stolen?
I hear they're going to look for the Jeep that was in the DX invasion.
Yep, I seen that.
It's like I'd like to know where that thing's sitting.
The only one that kind of made sense how he got, or I only remember how he got it, the one that had the Ric Flair robe. Did Ric Flair give him that robe?
Ric Flair gave him that robe.
Yeah, Ric Flair gave him that robe, and then when they were asking for it, and they gave him ended up giving him a different one. That dude,
he gave him money.
That dude was emotional.
They gave him money and another robe.
He didn't want to give up that robe.
Well, did you see where the mortician had to give up Kane's urn? They gave him another urn. Yeah. He didn't want to really give up that urn that he had for when the original.
Well, that episode about Andre, Mark Henry. Henry was
Mark Henry.
He was tore up. Andre was his guy.
So pissed at Sonny Ono for auctioning off that mask, that machine mask, because Sonny Ono had nothing to do with Andre and the machines.
Yeah.
And then he went and sold it to that other guy for a higher number.
Yeah, I can understand Mark Henry having that connection. He says he's seen him with Low Boy wrestling, and Andre's getting ready to go to the back, and they're all going up to the rail, and everybody knocks Mark Henry down, and Andre reaches over and picks up Mark Henry as a little kid, and just make sure he was all right.
Never a little kid.
Yeah, he wasn't little, but but to Andre,
that's true.
And made sure he was okay and everything, and he's. And Andre was his favorite before that anyway. So, yeah.
If you get a chance, go on eBay. They used to have them on there. Somebody had pieces of feather off of one of Ric Flair's robes that he kind of broke up, stuck it in a frame, and selling them on eBay. And I laugh every time I see that because, shoot, who knows where those feathers come from? But
yeah, who knows?
And they're little bitty pieces of feather, too. So.
Ain't no different than a little dude to get a picture taken as a jockey.
Hey.
I love that story.
I didn't charge him anything.
You're right.
Would have been worse if I'd have charged him $20.
You might be up in somebody's memorabilia room.
I think that'd be fantastic.
He said,
that'd be fantastic.
That would have been the only. That's the only thing that'd have been better if I'd charged him $20.
That'd be awesome if the guy that got it actually heard this and he sent a picture of it up in his memorabilia room.
He probably go get that picture, break that picture. That sort of a.
Speaking of that, the Tommy Gage story with the putting his picture on Rob Kincaid's wall, I was laughing my ass off that one.
I enjoyed that conversation.
That was very good.
And I also Blake Money Wright. Because he's been on a few times, but I really thought that was real good as well.
Yep.
Kind of went a different direction than the other times he was on.
Yep,
we kind of had to because, like Tony said, he'd been on so many times where you don't keep asking him the same thing. So
yeah. Well, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, just one quick story because he just put up there laughing. Tony, the horse jockey. I was working at Butterfield's restaurant. You was born, so it was probably 1980, and I was working as a bar back. When I was under 18, I wasn't allowed touching liquor, but I would clean glasses. I could carry liquor as long as it wasn't open. And working there, and a guy come in and offered me an opportunity to be a jockey. Wanted me to move to Kentucky. And he said, I said, look, I ain't never been on a horse. He said, that's a good thing. You have no bad habits. He said, being a jockey and being on a horse it's different. Just getting on a horse. And if you've been riding horses all your life, that'd be a bad thing. He said, it'd be easier to teach you to be a jockey. But he said, you would have to move here and stay at the stables. You'd be spending 12 hours a day with the horses. And he was wanting me to move but I actually had an opportunity.
Wow.
At that time, I weighed about 85 pounds.
What's funny about that? I had an opportunity to be a jockey as well.
Did you?
To Tony Abbott.
Yeah, that's right.
Came to, he goes, how much you weigh? I told him, he goes, You're perfect size. He just got some racing horses. We coached wrestling together. He's my high school wrestling coach. And
Wow.
this was. I mean, Austin was probably 7, 8 years old. So this was way after I was out of high school. He's like, he wanted me to be his jockey. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get me killed.
Yeah, Chris
See,
wasn't
that's
even
what
a
you
year
need to
old.
do
and I
now,
thought
Tony.
that.
You need the GS or the G.W.R. when you go on, do your live remotes in a horse jockey outfit. And that could be your.
That'd be good. A little hat. We take pictures. Make $20 a pop. That'd be all right. Yeah, we got that whip here somewhere. And your mom's never used a whip on me before.
I didn't want.
That's your.
I wasn't even going. I was trying to stay out. I wasn't even trying to stay out. I was trying to stay out that direction.
See, if I said that and Austin was here, Austin would he'd go crazy. My grandson, he gets embarrassed. Because I'll say all kinds of stuff. I said one time, I said, hey, Austin, I said, me and your Nan in there, we got a trapeze in there. So what for? I said, well, we do different things on that trapeze. Oh, he got all.
He'll get mad.
He get all, and I don't have a trapeze. First of all, okay, this doesn't make accurate, but I'm just teasing.
He'll get mad. He'll say, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, that's what he would say. That's inappropriate.
How old is he?
22.
Yeah, 22. Okay. He'll be 23 next month.
Yep.
See, you got your sponsor and everything.
Yep.
Tony and Gonzo'S.
I told you, trying to get a room down there for 5-star in May, I had to come north a little bit because the room.
I told him about that today.
It's like $500, $400. Like, God, I was just in that room for $60.
500.
Yeah, they do that.
Oh yeah.
But what, Marcus? Did you have anything else before we go off here?
If I can touch anything else after that story.
That's true.
That's true.
He took it the ECW way and went off on his own.
We got a little. Yeah, that's the way this close.
Kept
That's the way ECW. That's the way it should have closed out. Low risque.
Of course, Chris is scarred for the night, but he'll get over.
That's all right.
The way our sports shows goes, going a little left. That's
a little left.
Yeah, that night I stood and watched you guys doing whatever that pay-per-view that was. I'm like, boy, these guys have really gone off the edge.
Oh. That was nothing to 2 weeks ago on the sports show.
Oh, no.
I wasn't on that show.
And it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't him.
They went.
Wasn't you that night either. Those others just kind of took over. You guys just sat over there and I'm laughing.
Way left. They get off topic sometimes. But hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. We greatly appreciate it. Like, follow Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. That's where we post all the information about the shows. Don't forget, tomorrow, Sage Phillips, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Pro Wrestler Sage Phillips will be on the show. It was originally scheduled for Wednesday, but it's going to be tomorrow, Tuesday the 21st, 6:30. And then Thursday, Jake Elliott. I'm looking forward to that one as well. Thursday at 6:30.
Should be two good ones.
And then next Thursday we have Scott Diamond.
Yep.
Is it Thursday or Wednesday?
Thursday.
All right, so I guess we'll see the micros on Wednesday. So what day you have Scott Diamond then?
Scott Diamond Thursday, March 30th.
All right.
He's going to double check it.
Yeah, let me know because I can be in the microtorium either on Wednesday or Thursday, and I really want to see Scott Diamond, especially since I'm the one who brought him on. So
Thursday, March 30th, 6:30.
All right, well, then we'll be in the microtorium on Wednesday then.
We're supposed to have Roger Pettit on Wednesday, but he had to reschedule.
Okay.
Thursday.
So Wednesday, right now, next Wednesday is open.
And Scott Diamond just posted the thing about Carson Drake a little bit ago too. So
I've been contacting Drake, but I haven't got no response yet.
So yeah, Scott's he's a good man.
All right, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I'll tell you off air. But, we appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back. We'll be doing something next Monday. We'll let you guys know. Follow us on social media. If we air that wrestling show, we'll do that. If not, we'll do some kind of show.
Yep.
But we appreciate everybody joining us, and we will see you guys next time.